Welcome back. For as long as Shaughnessy doesn't want us recording there, Kings Links has become the unofficial new home track. And today we're playing the blue tees at about 6,400 yards. It's a cold and windy day, so we're getting a true links experience. And on the first tee it looked like my drive might go right into the bunker, but it actually got through everything and left me with just a 9-iron in. This one was right at the flag, but a hair short of the green. And that first putt is a little tentative, but I do manage to tidy it up for par. What I love most about Kings Links is that it provides options off the tee. And the aggressive play here is to hit driver over the water, but on this hole I'd usually opt to hit hybrid or wood off the tee, and then a second wood that will always leave me just a wedge in. But this is a true links experience here. My shot is right on the number, but bounces through the green, and look what I end up left with trying to get up and down. I'm actually thrilled to have a par putt after being stymied behind the green. And I don't quite drop it, but a bogey here is okay. The third hole is stroke hole 1, and even though it's short, it often plays directly into wind like it did today. So a good drive left me 140 in, and even a well-struck 7-iron didn't manage to quite get to the green. This is a long uphill putt, and it's really hard to get it the right weight.
That's tough to get all the way to the hole. Great putt.
And I wasn't disappointed with that, but this one I'd like to have over. This one wasn't hit particularly well, and I end up short-sided trying to get over a bunker to a tucked pin, and I'm lucky that that one didn't fall back into the bunker. This is a really delicate one, and Alex was right, I did have the line, but not quite the weight, and we'll tap in for another bogey. This is my favorite hole on the course, because even if you hit a drive that doesn't get over the bunkers, you end up still inside 100 yards. And this one has about 3 or 4 feet of break. And once again I have the line but not the weight, but we're happy with par. This is more or less a carbon copy of the last par 3. And this time I don't fade it at all, so even though it's the right number, it's in the front left bunker. That's a really weak effort from the bunker. And this is funny. I hit back-to-back probably my worst and best shot of the day, in the opposite order. That's a great putt, but I take the tap in for granted, and that's a very frustrating double. 7 is stroke hole 18 on the card. It's a short gettable par 5, but not when you flare your drive out like that. And I was happy to get decent contact with that hybrid out of the thick rough. And I'm taking dead aim here, but it comes up just a hair short of the green.
Nice putt. Birdie.
But when you do that, it's all good. I took a big rip at this drive, and I'll have just a wedge in that I actually caught kind of skinny, but the result ends up being fantastic. I have about 8 feet for birdie. We don't quite make it, but there's nothing wrong with par. On the 9th hole I do opt to carry over the water, and when you do it properly you end up with just a 9-iron or wedge in. And this one was painting the flagstick but ends up on the wrong side of the ridge. But that effort's okay, and we will close with another par on 9. And if you like the format of these course vlogs and you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and feel free to leave any comments on what else you'd like to see down below. So wrapping up these 9 holes, there was a mistake on 2 that led to a bogey and some poorly played par 3s, but we did manage to make a good birdie on 7, and there's nothing wrong with 4 over through 9. This drive wasn't hit particularly well, and I'm lucky that I still have a shot at the green. And with some course knowledge in hand, I decide to really let up on that 8-iron because it's very easy to go through the screen. I do still end up past the pin, but a 2-putt par is fine. This is a bit of a slappy fade, but it does wind up in the middle of the fairway, where I proceed to almost cold top it. But thanks to links golf, it does still end up inside 100 yards. This one's at the pin and does manage to stop. And I guess that approach shot demonstrates that you only need to hit one good shot on a par 5 to make a par. This one hooks hard left, and now I'm going to wind up with about 170 over the water. I grab a 5 hybrid, and I pick the wrong time to just flush it, and it goes over the green into a pretty tricky spot. This chip's fine, and I'll have a makeable par putt now. but I don't quite find it, and we'll have to settle for bogey. This should be a very easy hole, but lately I've had trouble judging the number, and this one comes up just a hair short, and I'm in a weird hanging lie by the bunker here, and I'm actually okay with a putt for par. This one's low all the way, so for the first time since the front nine, we'll have back-to-back bogeys. This drive was hit well and manages to avoid the bunkers. And this isn't my best effort, but as per usual on the par 5s, 2 decent enough shots will leave you with a wedge in. I play this one deliberately short because I've run through the green here several times lately. This putt leaves a bit of a knee knocker, but I do manage to tidy it up.
Hey, Not a Scratch Golfer, big fans here. Love the stuff.
Big fan. Keep doing what you do. We love it, man.
Keep going low.
It's always cool to run into people who know the channel on the golf course, and it's been happening more and more lately, which is fun. This one came up a hair short, so no KP for me. But the lag putt is good, and we're happy with par.
Stripes it.
That's by far my best drive of the day, about 280. And I follow it up with the first of a few bad iron shots I hit coming down the stretch. This is stroke hole 2, however. So having 4 feet for par is fine, and we do manage to make it. This is my last good shot of the day, because that's a shank, and it shouldn't be hard here to at least put it on the green and salvage a bogey out of this. Instead, I hit a terrible wedge shot, and this pitch from greenside leaves me about 15 feet breaking for bogey, and we'll take a double bogey. This was a very conservative line away from the water, and it will leave me about 170 in, and we decide to shank another one. This wedge through the thick rough is fine if it manages to hit the green, and it does. And that putt's okay, but for at least the 3rd time today, we miss a short knee knocker. And it really looked like we'd break 80 only a couple of holes ago. But when you close double-double, some frustration certainly comes out. So looking back through this day, obviously we can see that down the stretch is where we really fell apart. But most of the mistakes happened here with the flat stick inside just a few feet. So we're not thrilled with not breaking 80 after the start, but some lessons to be had for next time for sure.